And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm David Boles, and this is Boles.tv, coming to you live and in person from the East Coast of the United States. And every day is a challenge. To prepare for life, to prepare for a live stream, to prepare to deal with the things that come at you every day. And that's what we endeavor to discuss every weekday at 9 a.m. Eastern here on Boles.tv. And the overarching thing that we call this is the human condition. What does that mean? Well, that's a good question. My friend and mentor Howard Stein, Columbia University, would ask that question often. He'd say, I hear people talking about this human condition thing. And what does it mean? And he never received an answer that he liked. And so I have endeavored, ever since my friendship with him began in the 1990s, to try to give perception and definition to this idea of the human condition. And we talk about that a lot here on Boles.tv. We talk about the news, we talk about things that are happening, we talk about private things, we talk about personal things. And if you join us in chat, then we can go in a different direction. Because it's all really about the human condition. And how we work together and apart, and what makes us human. Now, yesterday we discussed a couple of changes. Our landing page, I guess that's what they call it, our merch store has changed from bolesbooks.org to bolesbuy.com. And if you type bolesbooks.org into a web browser, you will be brought right to our new web store. So everything's fine, everything works great. Even if you can't remember the name of the landing page and you type in buy Boles instead of Boles Buy, all takes you to the same place. That's how the internet works. Everything points to itself. Everything is self-referential. Well, we've been streaming live for about a month and a half, working hard to gain perception and understanding in this crazy world that surrounds us. And as you know, my lovely wife of 33 years, Janna Marie, I call her, joins us every Friday for a little lesson in American Sign Language. And sometimes the lessons are advanced, sometimes they're low-key, and sometimes she's just telling a story. And they're a lot of fun, but very formal, very planned, very deliberative. So we've been talking a little bit. And I said, hey, Janna Marie, maybe you want to do something like this, like I'm doing, where you just kind of sit and talk about the human condition. And you could have your own show on Boles.tv and do it purely in ASL. Janna is deaf and uses sign language to communicate. And she's been teaching ASL in New York City for 25 years. So she's a real pro. But I said, what if we just had a show where you sat down and just chatted about whatever you want to talk about? About getting jobs for disabled people, or your take on the current news from a deaf woman's point of view. Could be interesting. Could be a lot of fun. And I think she's going to try it. She's going to be willing to give it a go. Now, one thing that concerns me about streaming on Twitch, and because we are now an affiliate, we are not allowed to live stream on YouTube or Facebook at the same time we are streaming on Twitch. We have to wait 24 hours, and then we can upload the video on demand of this stream to those other systems, which is okay, but it's not of the moment. But a major advantage that YouTube and Facebook have right now over Twitch is that they provide automatic closed captioning. And if you're deaf, or you have deaf friends who you want to join in this conversation about the human condition and you're not signing, It would be great if you had captions. And not just captions after the fact, but live closed captions. Well, Facebook and YouTube offer captioning after the fact. Twitch is sort of in the process, I think, of trying to decide if they want to offer live captions to all their streamers. As I understand it, some of the official Twitch streams from the company are automatically closed captioned. And I've seen those videos, and they look fantastic. So how can we get that here? I don't know. I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure it out. So we thought, well, if Janna had her own show... Ah, there's Dora. Good morning, Dora. Oh, I was in your pocket, and you heard a voice. Love the music. I think you got it. Oh, we're going to talk about music in just a minute. All the music is coming up. But Dora's with us. That's wonderful on a Tuesday. So I said, well, why don't we just have Janna do her own little show in ASL Chat with Janna. And she'll do this, just sit here, not teaching anything, but just talking about the world. In ASL, signing. No sound, no music, meh, off. No microphone over there, meh. And she said, I don't really know how to talk like you talk. I said, well, I don't either. I'm a shy person. I force myself to sit here and try to think of things to say. I'm a writer. I write words quietly to myself. I don't broadcast. But I'm getting used to it. And, you know, we can invite her deaf associates or deaf friends from Council Bluffs and Omaha to join her. Now, they would have to type in chat, because right now there's really no easy way to do two-way video on Twitch. And she thought that was kind of an interesting idea. And if she has students who are in the break between semesters, want to practice their receptive skills, not their signing skills because we can't see them. But when you're teaching people ASL, the hardest thing is receptive skills. People love to talk, and they don't want to listen, usually. Generally speaking. So, when you're learning ASL, you have to learn how to listen, and you learn to listen by using your eyes to watch other people to see and understand what they're saying. That's called receptive skills in ASL. So that seems like an interesting opportunity. The live stream is always free. You'll have some ads unless you subscribe. And Janna can sit here and tell stories and comment on the news and the world and the human condition. And her friends can join in, and her students can watch and practice, so maybe it'd be interesting. For an hour. So I think we're going to try this Saturday and Sunday. At 11 a.m. Eastern. Live ASL chat with Janna Marie. It'll be an interesting experiment, and I hope it goes well because I want it to be regular. And then we have a 7-day-a-week stream, 4 days with me, a 5th day with mostly me, a little bit of Janna, teaching ASL on Fridays, and then a little weekend with some ASL chat with Janna Marie. It could be interesting. So that's what we're thinking. It doesn't mean we're right, it doesn't mean it's going to work. But that's what we're thinking. Oh, Dora, that's wonderful. Yeah, there are some ways to get captions on your Twitch stream, but I don't know if they're live, and I think you have to actually pay for it, and it's not necessarily reliable. It's so much better if Twitch just does it themselves. And they're owned by Amazon, so they have a lot of resources and a lot of money. But I know Amazon's very careful with their money, so if they don't think that there's a audience out there for closed captioning, then they're not going to do it. But that doesn't mean we give up or that we stop trying. So here's something interesting that hit my inbox yesterday. I subscribe to the Washington Post, and my birthday is coming up next month. But they sent me a little email saying, hey, we have your birthday page ready. I thought, my birthday page from the Washington Post? My birthday isn't this month. My birthday is next month. So they said, click on this and we'll show you the headlines for the day and the year that you were born. And I thought, is this some kind of advertising? Is this a benefit, a perk? That's a month early. So I clicked on it, and this is what popped up. And it's kind of fun. January 27, 1965. Not that I'm saying that is my day or year of birth, but if that's what the Washington Post says, who am I to argue? And it's just the first page, the front page of the Washington Post. And you can read about what was going on in the world when you were not able to understand any of it. So here's the main thing. Nazarene curbs approved in house. But the most interesting one is this, where the photograph is. Where LBJ leaves the hospital. Still has a slight cough. Now that sounds mysterious. What happened? Baby David wants to know. President Johnson returned to the White House yesterday, still trying to shake a slight cough, but showing no other signs of the severe cold that had hospitalized him for nearly 4 days. Boy, oh boy. Now, if we had a president hospitalized for 4 days, we'd be in big trouble. I think Trump had COVID and was almost dying, they said. Oxygen 86%. Remdesivir in his bedroom. He was in the hospital for what? A day? Half a day? Seems a little bit strange. Yes, Dora, there's a lot of competition out there. And when we started doing this stream, we had friends and respected associates who said, oh, there's a lot of that live streaming out there. I don't know what you're going to do. And then we started a live stream, and they said, oh, well, there's a lot of that already out there, and, well, there's just so much television and so many things to watch. Okay, well, those people, you can go away. They're not being helpful. 25 minutes later, after a meandering ride through Northwest Washington, LBJ was back in the White House, which he had left by ambulance in the early morning hours of Saturday. Although physicians described his condition as excellent, the president has not yet decided whether to fly to London for Sir Winston Churchill's funeral on Saturday. Very interesting stuff. So that's my birthday front page. And now we get into this. And yes, I'm sighing dramatically. As you know, part of the drama of doing this live stream... something broke. I don't know what that was. Is trying to find appropriate music to stream. We have tried Pretzel Rocks, which was fine. We tried Monster Cat Gold, which was fine. And we are now exclusively using Slip.Stream for a reason. The reason is their music is good, and the reason is it's easier to track if you get in trouble if you're using just one system. What do you mean getting in trouble? Well, if you remember 2-3 weeks ago, we had an issue where we uploaded a video when we were live streaming still to YouTube, and one of the music publishers said we were using their music illegally, which I understand that happens a lot. People steal stuff on the internet. Well, we have a commercial license with Slipstream, which means we're allowed to use their music. They provide to us 50,000 tracks, and we pay them a license fee every year. And that is supposed to give us the right to use their music in our live stream, also in our replays, which are called VOD, Video on Demand. and on our website, and in perhaps not a commercial, because that's different, but in our podcast. And all these years I've been publishing and working, I always stay away from using live music because you can get in trouble if you don't have the right clearances and the right rights to use it. They can DMCA you, they can take your money, they can cause trouble for you. It's a big thing. So, as you know, I've been trying to find the right sort of music for this stream, and as I discussed in detail yesterday in the live stream, that I listened to probably 1,500 tracks on Slipstream to find music beds, which is what you're hearing in the background, that were subtle enough, but beautiful enough that I can chat with you and have them playing in the background without overpowering what I'm trying to say. And out of listening briefly to 1,500 tracks, I came up with about 86. And we tried that yesterday. We had it running and music was playing. Okay, great. Working out really well. And then when the stream finishes, I download the video file and I promote the video on demand on our social media. And just for safekeeping, I upload our show to YouTube. Well, I go into my Twitch account almost right after the show finished. And it says, "Oh, your audio has been muted." And I'm thinking, my audio has been muted? What does that mean? Let me see if I can find it. Here, right here. You see this? Muted audio. Now I have, as you can see, 93 videos on Twitch already in 8 weeks. Okay, I've never had muted audio. So you click on that muted audio thing, and it says, well, you know, AI, our computers listen to you, and there's a certain song you played that is a music violation. So we aren't dinging you with a copyright violation. We are not hitting you with a DMCA notice because we're Twitch and we don't own the rights to that, but we're trying to protect you as a streamer. So you played the music on your live stream, but video on demand, we're muting your audio. And they don't just mute your audio, they mute everything. They don't just mute the song, they mute what you're saying. Now there are ways that if, not on a Mac, but if you're on Windows, you can have different audio streams going in, so if they mute one part of it, the music, your voice can still be heard. So that's the best way around it, but we don't have that opportunity. But because we have this commercial license to stream, we have the right to use that song or that music. Now, I was very lucky that the song in question was playing during one of my blood pressure breaks. So I wasn't on a rant, I wasn't speaking about something super important that got muted. What got muted was my break, I believe. But you don't want to download that and upload that to YouTube and have, you know, a 3-minute break of no audio. It's wrong. It sounds weird. So when you get hit like that, you either accept it or you can appeal. And this appears to be a rather slow process. So this is what I did yesterday. I went to that video where it said muted audio. And I clicked on the thing that said muted audio appeal. Okay, this is the close-up of what I was just showing you. Please select the reason for the muted audio track you wish to appeal. You cannot appeal for the following reasons. You own the streamed audio. Buying or streaming audio for personal listening does not give you permission to distribute it on Twitch. Now that's common. So there are some people who think that, okay, I bought the latest Bruce Springsteen album. I have it in my possession. I bought it so I can use it in my live stream. That's what they're talking about with that. And that you can't do. And people don't understand that. They think, oh no, I own Bruce Springsteen. He's mine. I can stream him. No. It's a different license altogether. And buying an album is not a license to stream. Different, separate things. Or complicated. Did you ever find out which song was the culprit? We're getting to that right now. So, you own the stream by minute. Or you credited the artist. Some people think that, well, if I play the song and I give them a shout out, hey everybody, I didn't buy the album. That was Bruce Springsteen. Go buy his album. That's not acceptable either. You have to have a certain license to distribute audio belonging to others on Twitch. Okay. Another reason why you're not allowed to appeal is in-game audio or music in games may still be separately copyrighted or for limited uses. So Twitch is a big gaming site and there's music there, and sometimes people take the music from their game and use it to promote their stream. Can't do that either. So now we go all the way back because we have to read this together. Here's the song in question. This is the track. I believe it was 3 minutes. Rossini, String Sonata number 2 in C major. Allegro Academy of St. Martin in the Fields, Sir Neville Mariner. Okay? It was a string piece. Very beautiful. I went back and listened to it. I love it. And then I timed 6 minutes, so that's a very nice long chunk of song. And that they muted my stream for 6 minutes. I was lucky I had a long bathroom break. The status is not yet clear. I did all this yesterday at noon, and nothing has changed. And here is my appeal reason. I have permission. Now, on YouTube, you say, I have permission, and they say, what is your permission, young man? Or old dude, in my case. So I went on there on YouTube, and I typed in, hey, I have a commercial license to stream music from slip.stream. They will contact the publisher in question, and it'll be resolved. And Slipstream did, and YouTube released my video immediately. But this one is a little bit different with Twitch. I guess the way their system works is I appeal, then it goes to the person who's claiming this appeal, and they can decide what the next step is, if they're going to take it down, if they're going to come after me, and they can come after me because I have a license. I'm not worried about that. But in the meantime, as all this is going on, my video is muted. And they won't unmute it, even though you're appealing. Even though as part of that appeal says, I have a license, I purchased a license to stream this song. That is what my appeal says. So I went to slip.stream and I said, hey, it happened again. Here's a copy of the ding, what I call it. The notice of violation. And this is what Slipstream replied to me. Sorry you're experiencing this again. The song in question is a Rossini track that is in the public domain. It looks like Universal Music Group. It looks like Universal is claiming a record from the 1960s. The dispute should resolve quickly in your favor. This happens with some of the public domain arrangements as the master recording gets claimed, even though we can have our own version of it, which we do. Please let us know what Twitch says, and we'll proactively reach out to Audible Magic, the claiming service, to push on our side. So, there you go. This is the life of a streamer with streaming live music. You do everything right, and you're still going to get hassled. And I don't blame Slipstream for this. This is what they do. I replied and said, thank you so much. I appreciate your help. It's very precise, very intricate response, and I'm glad you're on our side. Because we're the good guys. We're not the people stealing the music. We're not the people trying to get somebody else's song to play on our stream for nothing. We're playing the license. So this morning before the stream, I thought, okay, now what am I going to do? Because I have these 86 songs that rotate, that shuffle. I said, now what if that song, which I really love, what if that song pops back up in today's stream and I get ding-danged again? And we have to go through all this all over again. So I thought I've got to be smarter about this. So I went in and I looked at all the songs I had in my special playlist that I had cleared that I thought were appropriate. And I did the draconian thing and deleted the songs in question. There's only one song that's being dinged, but there are other songs that appear to be on that same album or recording that I just deleted them as well. And then I listened to some other songs. I thought, well, that sounds kind of old and interesting and stringy and orchestral. I better delete those too. So I deleted about 11 songs out of the playlist. And as this playlist plays over the next few days, some songs are going to be too loud, some songs are going to be not the right, so I have to delete those anyway. That happened yesterday. We had one song that was very raucous, and I deleted that. So these things, these dings, illegal dings, because I have the right to use the music, do have a chilling effect. And you think you have the right to use something, and you do have the right to use something, and someone else can say, well, you have the right, but maybe I want to give you a hard time, or maybe if I claim against you, I can take some of your advertising revenue for myself, because it's easier for a company to believe me than to believe you, because I'm Universal Music Group and you're a lowly little streamer. What do you know? So it's a chilling effect. I censored myself, I edited my playlist to try to avoid this kind of issue. And I realized this morning, as this moves forward, that if this keeps happening, where you get dinged for some of these songs, it's just going to be better to remove them from your stream proactively than to get dinged a second time. And that's the hard lesson I've learned so far. So that's life in the big city, the big streaming world. And we're just getting started. But now it's time for a blood pressure break. I will see you back here momentarily. And we are back from break. Thank you so much for being here on Boles.tv as we churn into the next day. Well, during break, I see our lovely friend Dora said she got her booster shot yesterday. Well, that is fantastic news. Did you get the same kind of shot for your booster, or did you go a different way? All of our 3 shots are Pfizer, but now I'm thinking maybe we should have gone Moderna for the 3rd, or the news yesterday from Johnson & Johnson in a very limited study of 60 people said the people who get Pfizer twice and then Johnson & Johnson third get really robust immunity. And I like that idea of swapping things around. I think that's very smart. And I would not mind, as I've said many times on this live stream, to have a vaccine every week. I don't care what it's for. However, if you're over 50, I do very strongly suggest that you consider getting the Shingles vaccine. 99% effective, and as far as we know, they shoot you up once, bang, and you're finished worrying about shingles for a very, very long time. We hope the rest of your life. Because I had shingles, and it was misery. And it got caught early. Some people don't get their shingles caught early, and instead of being miserable for 2 weeks, you're miserable for 4 months. Dora saw the same article after she just got the Pfizer shot. That's exactly what happened to us. That's so funny. But I'm glad that you're feeling okay and your arm is a little sore. Did you get a flu shot too at the same time? I hope. Because you can. You can get a flu shot and a booster same time. You can do it in the same arm if you want to. And Jan and I decided to go separate arms so we could do A and B testing. The A arm was the flu shot, the B arm was the Pfizer booster. And we both admitted that the flu shot hurt a lot more than the booster, which was very interesting. Got the flu shot earlier, fantastic. That's very good news. And I read in the news today that Nebraska is now number 16 on COVID outbreaks. They're moving up in the world, and that's the wrong way to move. Now, Nebraska, we have to admit, when it comes to national ratings, is usually not always near the top of anything. Usually in the middle, sometimes a little lower. That's just the way it is. Location, governance, politics. And they're having a lot of outbreaks in Nebraska for some reason. Now, on the East Coast and other places, last week, because of this Omicron variant, booster shots went up. 2.2 million shots, I believe. Very smart. People are getting scared of this Omicron variant. In South Africa, in the last few days, 25% increase in Omicron variant infections. Read another article yesterday about Hong Kong. And 2 people who were fully vaccinated sharing a hotel hallway, let's say. One was in the room over here. There's a hallway. One was in the room over here. And somehow, even though they don't know each other and they're not rooming together and they're in separate rooms across a hallway, one of them infected the other and now they both have Omicron. And there are still people who think this is all a big joke, big hoax. Just a little bit of ivermectin and everyone will be fine. Dora says, never got the shingle shot, debating it. I supposedly got measles twice when I was a child. Does that make a difference? You'll have to read up on it. Oh, well, now you've challenged me. I mean, not challenged me. Now you've inspired me. Let me find it. So here's my article, excuse me, from 2016. Santa gave me shingles. What, 6 years ago? Oh boy, Santa gave me shingles. It was really terrible. And it was my dermatologist, the same guy who's burned all the stuff off my face, who diagnosed this. I had shingles. It has nothing to do with measles. If you had chicken pox as a child, you have the shingles virus inside of you. And I guarantee you, it's only a matter of time before shingles decides to fire. And the older you get, the worse the shingles are, and the more pain you're going to have. And so I went to the doctor, and he looked at it, and he immediately said, I'll, biopsy it, but I absolutely guarantee that that is shingles. And I said, well, now what do I do? He said, well, if you waited one more day, you'd have the shingles that last 4 months. But since you're here on day 3, and I'm going to give you a prescription right now, and I'm going to give you gel to put on your face, I think you're going to be okay. But the second you leave here, you got to go right over to the pharmacy and take your first pill. So I said, okay. And so it was full blown. I had on the right side of my face, on my nerve line from here to here and here to here, I had little sores not herpes sores, but shingles sores. And they dig into your skin when they heal. And it was every nerve line on my face from here to here had shingles sores on it. If I had chickenpox, it will happen, ifs, ands, buts, will I get it? Not necessarily you absolutely will get it, it's that you have the shingles virus in your body. And so if you're ever under stress, or if you ever get sick, or you're ever in, your body is in pain, it can trigger the shingles. And I didn't know what it was for, as you know, 3 days. I thought I was just not feeling well, and there were things that were starting to come up, and I would sleep, and I couldn't sleep on this side of my face because it felt like I had rocks in my cheek. So I go on the other side. And finally, on the third day, I woke up, and I looked at Janna and I said, I think there's something going on. And for some reason, and because it was skin, I said, well, I guess I need a dermatologist. And I went back a week later to the doctor. He said, it's absolutely shingles. Did you take the medication? I said, yes. He said, well, make sure you keep putting this gel on your face. You're going to have very deep, awful scars. So I think every 3 hours I was putting stuff on my face to get rid of my shingle scars. And in the right light, in the wrong light, you can see there are scars here. There's a big scar here and here. Luckily, I don't keloid when I scar. And I know what triggered it. At that time, I was writing a whiskey review for my blog. And for some reason, I decided I'd be just so smart. And I would see how long I could hold a mouthful of this very strong bourbon, I think it was, bourbon and whiskey, in my mouth. And I would kind of gargle with it and see how long I could hold it before it was too much and I had to swallow it. And I think it was maybe 5 minutes. But the second I was done, my entire mouth was on fire, my heart was racing, and I knew that was the wrong thing to do. It put my body in deep crisis. And maybe I was tired and worn out, I don't know. But the next day is when all this started happening. So there's no such thing as a coincidence. I think my misbehavior with my whiskey led to the shingles outbreak. I think it triggered something in my system. Uh-oh, Dora has 2 keloid scars. Uh-oh, oh my God, thanks. Now, keloid scars when you get a scar and then it kind of heals over as a bump instead of being flat. We don't like keloids. And black skin, I am told by my dermatologist, tends to keloid more than white skin. And I was told by my ophthalmologist that if you're thinking of having laser surgery on your eye, where they cut your eye and they resurface it and put the flap back, is if you tend to keloid, they won't do that operation because your eyes have the possibility of keloiding. So if you go to your ophthalmologist and say, hey, I want eye surgery so I don't have to wear glasses or contacts, the first thing they will do is say, lift your shirt, whatever, show me your scars. And they look, and they feel your scar, and they touch your scar, and they poke your scar, and if you have a keloid, you're absolutely out. For the good doctors, I'm sure there were some people who will do eye surgery on for you just for the money. But a responsible doctor is going to check your scars, and if you're keloid, they're not going to do the surgery. It's too risky. It can ruin your eyesight forever. The scars are gone now, thank God. Well, that's good. So what happens is when you get shingles, and I researched this and I told my old cardiologist all of this information because he said, well, once you have shingles, you're immune. You have the antibodies. And I said, that is not true, doctor, because I did the research. And I told him the whole thing I'm going to tell you now, and he was like, okay, oh, wait, okay. When you get shingles, you have, and this is almost like the coronavirus, COVID thing, but people will talk about shingles and get a shot there, but they won't get one for coronavirus. When you get shingles and you recover, and I had a friend, the UPS guy, he would see me every once in a while on the street. I couldn't shave, and I don't really have a big beard or anything, but I couldn't shave because I had all these scars, these open sores on my face. He said, yeah, I saw you the other day, and you didn't stop and talk, you didn't say hi, and I noticed you hadn't shaved. You looked terrible. I said, well, I had shingles. And he went like, and I said, what happened? He says, my mother-in-law, she lives with us. My mother-in-law has shingles. I said, oh, no. I said, did she get help? And he said, no. I said, so she has full-blown shingles that's going for 4 months? She said, yeah, she's in month 4. And I said, oh, no. And he said, yeah, she walks around the house without a top on. No bra, no shirt, because she has shingles sores all over her breasts. And he says she morning and noon and night she walks around like this, holding her breast, walking around and moaning. Because if she doesn't hold down her breast, then the breast moves a little bit and tears at her shingles sores. I said, oh my gosh, I can't imagine. I said, I had mine for a week and a half. It was very painful. And he said, what can I do to help her? And I remembered what my dermatologist said. He said Tylenol Plus or Tylenol Advanced, just the regular over-the-counter Tylenol. Tylenol Extra Strength. He said, that's the best thing to take to reduce the pain of shingles. And I saw him a week later, and he said, hey, that Tylenol Extra Strength really works. She's feeling much better. So for 4 years, she suffered. Didn't go to the doctor. They don't believe in going to the doctor. So she suffered needlessly. So if you have shingles, you are pretty much 99% protected for about 3 years. And then after the 3rd year, your immunity begins to wane at a rate of 11% per year. So you're at 100%. So 5 years later, you're in the 40s for protection. And shingles will say, the shingles vaccine people, there are two. There's the original shingles vaccine, which I did not get, thank goodness. And then there's Shingrix, which I believe is the latest one and the one that's 99%. And Shingrix says that if you've had shingles, 3 to 5 years after you've had shingles and recovered from your shingles, get the vaccine. Now, it's not a shot, it's a vaccine. We like vaccines. Polio vaccines, smallpox vaccines, COVID vaccines, and shingles vaccines. Because as you get older and as your body goes under stress, there is a risk that you will get shingles. And I had my doctor said a very mild case. He said it was unfortunate it was on your face, but he said it was very lucky it didn't go in your eye, because there are people who get shingles in their eye and they go blind. There are people like my UPS guy's mother-in-law who had it all over her breasts. You go online, you look at pictures. Maybe you don't want to look at the pictures. Look at pictures, you'll see shingles all over someone's back. Their back is covered with shingles sores. And they have to go to work. They have to earn a living. What do? They suffer by having their shirt rub against their shingles sores. It's a nasty, awful thing. It knocks you out. It makes you feel very sick. I have a very loving wife who walked me through it, and who just, I had terrible back pain, and she just helped me every day with her magical hands, massaging the sore points in my back. So my advice to Dora and everyone who's listening to this live stream and watching and involved, if you are over the age of 50, there is no reason not to get a shingles vaccine. It's very important. And as you know, I'm big about vaccines. So if you have a good relationship with your pharmacist or your doctor, and they have a record of the shots you've had, go to them and say, hey, I like being healthy. I like getting vaccines. What vaccines do I need? And they're going to give you a few. I think we got a Tdap booster, and we got a tetanus booster. So it was about 2-month series of getting booster shots that we didn't know we needed, that are out there and available for people who, as you get older, you need shots. But you don't want shingles, believe me. It's very painful. and it's awful. But you can survive it. But if you get it in the wrong place, especially your eye, you're going to need some really, really careful care. Oh, here we go. Dora. Ask your pharmacist. Keloids. So weird. Thought I had skin cancer. Keloid grew because I squeezed when I had a blackhead. It kept growing. I was afraid to touch it. One day I'm showering and the keloid started coming off just like that. I was about to go to the dermatologist. That's very interesting. I would still go to your dermatologist and ask, because that sounds very curious to me. Just to make sure there isn't something in that spot that is misbehaving. But every pharmacist I've spoken to about this shingles vaccine, it's a miracle on earth. They said there's absolutely 100% no reason why you would not want it. And there are some doctors who don't know, who didn't do the research, who think, oh, you've had shingles, you're immune. No, you're not. You're immune for maybe 3 years, and then it really starts going down very rapidly as you lose your antibodies. And on that high note, we're going to take another blood pressure break. I'll see you in a moment. And we are back from break. Boles.tv. I'm David Boles. Thank you for being here today. Well, I've had an interesting conversation about shingles and how you don't want to get it. It's really an awful thing. And now I'm going to show you why. I didn't plan on talking about this today, but this is the fun of doing a live stream. You never know what's going to hit you. Well, you don't want this to hit you. That's what shingles looks like. It's nasty stuff. All different kinds of looks, as you can see. Where it hits you. Early signs of shingles: fever, headache, less energy, chills, tingling, numbness, shooting pains, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, burning pain on one side of the body. And shingles does tend to hit you only on one side of your body, which is fascinating, and doctors don't know why, and they can't predict why. And they give you a medication, a topical medication to put on, and it has medication in it. And it sort of feels like Vaseline. Excuse me. But it's not. It has medication. And you do that to keep the scabs wet. Usually, like when you have skin cancer, you want to scab over and fall off real fast so you can get underneath it and get the new skin healing. Well, not with shingles. Shingles, if it scabs and you pull it off, it leaves a deep crater in your skin. Here's someone who has shingles on the face. See, it's right in the eye. Oh, yo. That is painful stuff. Particularly in the eye. Shingles in the eye. So if you can get a vaccine to avoid it, why wouldn't you? Yes, it looks awful, Dora. I'm glad I convinced you. So here's Shingrix. This is the vaccine that I was able to get. Shingles. You've seen these commercials on television. Shingles doesn't care, but Shingrix can protect you. What is shingles? Well, your risk for shingles increases as you age. 1 out of 3 people in the United States will, in fact, get shingles. So, that's a 33.3% chance you're going to get it. Who's at risk? No matter how healthy you feel, your immune system decides as you age if you get shingles or not. And that puts you at an increased risk for shingles, especially if you're over 50. Shingles basically produces a painful rash that blisters. Yeah, that's what they try to really avoid, is the blistering. The blistering is what really kills you. And then scabs over in 7 to 10 days. It usually clears up within 2 to 4 weeks. Over 96% of people who get shingles experience acute pain, and many describe the pain as aching, burning, stabbing, or shock-like. And it's true to be shocked, because it runs on your nerves. So wherever your nerves are is where the shingles erupts. Rash, blister, pain. And then also, what are your symptoms? And the symptoms are very generic. That's what's so difficult about it. You start feeling not good. The electricity part is interesting because that is true. My face felt like it was getting shocked. And I guess I ultimately had a mild case. I had maybe 5 sores on my face. And I was lucky that I'm able to work from home and I could hide and nobody could see me. I couldn't imagine having to go into the office with medication all over my face and sitting there and working for 8 hours and not worrying about, stuff getting stuck on your medication on your face. What does the CDC say? Shingles. Vaccination. Recombinant zoster vaccine. Huh? COVID, same thing. COVID vaccine recommended to prevent shingles in adults 50 and over. It's a painful rash that develops on one side of the body, often the face or the torso. And then you also have some people this long-lasting pain, which is the pain that I believe that my UPS guy's mother-in-law had. This long-lasting pain is called post-therapeutic neuralgia, PHN, and it is the most common complication of shingles. You risk getting shingles, and PHN increases as you get older. For some, this is what I hear. Sentence before that. For some people, the pain, not the sores, the pain, holding your breast without your bra or your shirt on. For some people, the pain can last for months and even years after the rash goes away. So what should you know about the shingles vaccine? What everyone should know about Shingrix. Shingles vaccination is the only way to protect against shingles and PHN, the most common complication. So you're either going to get it, or you're going to get the vaccine. That's my feeling on it anyway. Shingrix provides strong protection against shingles and PHN. 2 doses of Shingrix is more than 90% effective at preventing shingles and PHN. Protection stays above 85% for at least the first 4 years after you get vaccinated. So it looks like I got to go back in and get some boosters. So that's something I need to check in on, because I don't remember when I actually got mine. It feels like it's been a while. You get 2 doses of Shingrix, separated by 2 to 6 months. And this is the best part. You should get Shingrix, the vaccine, even if in the past you had shingles. You received Zostrafax. That was the first shingles vaccine that was not as effective. So if you had the first vaccine, you can get the second vaccine. If you are not sure if you had chickenpox or not. Now, if you never had chickenpox, I believe you are not very susceptible to getting shingles. But most kids got chickenpox. There's no maximum age for getting Shingrix. You can get Shingrix whether or not you remember having chickenpox in the past. So good. Get it no matter what. Studies show that more than 99% of Americans 40 years and older have had chickenpox, even if they don't remember having the disease. I remember I had chickenpox. I was told that I had 2 spots. Very mild case, but it was enough. As I found out with my shingles. Chickenpox and shingles are related because they are caused by the same virus. Not herpes. After a person recovers from chickenpox, the virus stays dormant, inactive in the body, and it can be reactivated years later and cause shingles. Who knew? Most people don't know until they get it. Well, that was a fun diversion. Ugh. This is going to haunt me all day. Boy, this is some sad stuff. Oy. Yeah, I don't want shingles in my eye, thank you. And it's not like you rub up against something, it goes into your eye. It's just where shingles decides it wants to come after you and go in your eye. Well, now speaking of prevention, this comes from Canada, and it's very, very interesting. How people in Canada are starting to steal cars. And it's very interesting how they're deciding to do it. And it's a little disappointing. But I guess what isn't in this modern day life, right? Investigators with the York Regional Police Auto Cargo Theft Unit, and I love how proper they are. Canadians are just so smooth and not loud. They are advising residents they have identified a new method being used by thieves to track, that's the key word, and steal high-end vehicles across York region. Well, that sounds intriguing. Tell me more. Okay. This is very recent. Since September 2021, officers have investigated 5 incidents where suspects have placed small tracking devices on high-end vehicles so they can later locate and steal them. Brand name AirTags are placed in out-of-sight areas of the target vehicles when they are parked in public places like malls or parking lots. The thieves then track the targeted vehicles to the victim's residence, or they steal the cars from the driveway. Now, what they're talking about is this. That is an Apple AirTag. I have one right here. These are my keys. This is my little Bluetooth thing, RFID thing, whatever it is. I guess it's RFID that I click to get into the gym, that I click to get into the building, that I click to get into the elevator. And this is my keychain. And this is my Apple AirTag. And it's in a holder. Here's, you can get it personalized. So I have my name for it on it. Dave. And they're really wonderful, brilliant technology. Mirror-like, yeah? Well, you can see all around. It's another camera. A reflective camera. So you take these things. I think they come in packs of 3. I have one here so I can find my keys, if I misplace my keys. I have one in my computer bag, hidden. So if I lose my computer bag, I know where to find it. And the third one, I'm not exactly remembering where I put that one, but it's somewhere. And what happens is, using your iPhone, you connect this AirTag to you as a possession of yours on your iPhone. And if someone takes your bag, or if you lose your keys, your iPhone can find that tag and bring you to it. And you can recover what you lost. And the neat thing about AirTags is it's part of a system. So if your AirTag is in New York City, your keys are lost, and you're in Connecticut, you can look up your keys, your AirTag on your phone and find out exactly where it is. Now, how is that possible? This doesn't have Wi-Fi in it. This doesn't have any way to let you know directly on your phone with a direct relationship where your AirTag is. Well, it becomes part of a system in that anybody who has an iPhone can pick up the signal from your AirTag, relay it back to Apple servers, wherever it is, and your iPhone doesn't even know it's doing it. Your iPhone knows it's doing it. You don't know your iPhone is doing it. And relate this information back to the Apple servers, who then can relate it back to your iPhone saying, hey, we're not telling you how we found it, or who found it, or whose phone found it for you, but your keys are at the World Trade Center. And then once you get to the World Trade Center, you call up your phone and you look for your AirTag, and it directs you, I think, within 100 feet of where your tag is. Wonderful, right? Technology, yes. A salvation in every way. As tech advances, more ways to steal. Pros and cons. 1984. Love technology. That's right, Dora. Absolutely right. So here's the threat and the problem with these AirTags is anyone can use them. And they're slightly expensive. But if you want to steal a really expensive car and you have an AirTag like this, and it's small, and you could stick it inside the bumper of a car, put it inside a wheel well, and then the car drives itself home with the person in it, You own that AirTag. You're watching where that car is you're going to steal, where it lands. Oh, look at that. And then at night or whatever, you go over there and you break into the car and you take the car. You found exactly the car that you were looking for, and this technology helped you find it. And what do you do about it? I don't think there's anything you can do about it. Because you don't know your expensive car is being tracked in the first place. Except to be extreme and to lock up your car and lock it down and have video cameras and try to prevent someone from going in and taking your car. Which is not a great idea. Because it could be very dangerous. Now, there are some people who are in the domestic violence field who are very concerned about this. Because a bad actor, male or female, could take one of these, register it to their phone, and then slip it into someone's purse or shoe or coat without that person knowing, and find them. Track them down. Hunt them down. Oh, you're hiding in an apartment somewhere, so you don't think I could find you. Well, guess what? I put an AirTag on you. I know exactly where you are, and I can find you within 100 feet. How do you prevent against that? You don't know. Now, they say that once an AirTag becomes separated from its phone for a certain amount of time, I think it's maybe a day or two, that this tag thing will start beeping. Beep, 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 beep. So you can hear the beep and you can find the beep and say, oh, somebody put an AirTag in my coat. Oh, somebody put an AirTag on my expensive car. But there are ways to defeat that. You go on YouTube and there are videos, how-to videos, to show how you can open up one of these AirTag things and turn off, cut into the speaker, so it still works, but it just won't make any sound. Now, why would people do that? Well, they do it for legitimate reasons. That, let's say they want to put one of these AirTags in their bicycle, and their bicycle isn't right near their phone. And sometimes they ride their bicycle to work, and they leave their bike at work, and then they get it later, and they don't want the thing beeping and calling attention to itself, so they sabotage the speaker. So we live in a panopticonic world where everyone is being watched at all times, and technology is wonderful and growing. And who wouldn't want to know where you left your computer bag within 100 feet? It's a fantastic idea. But the danger is always when this information and this technology gets into the wrong hands and the wrong heart. And you're going to pay for it in the loss of your privacy. It's unfortunate. Now today is December 7th. National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. And some kids don't even really know what Pearl Harbor is. They think it's a neat place in Hawaii. World War II is fading from their mind. The Holocaust, some people say, is a joke, a phony, prove that it happened. It's just, we're getting to the point of being ridiculous where history doesn't matter to anybody. But for a moment today, we're going to take a pause in memory of Bob Dole and those who served. On December 7, 1941, the Empire of Japan attacked the military installations in and around Pearl Harbor on the island of Oahu, Hawaii. The 2-hour attack killed 103 civilians and 2,335 military personnel, including 2,008 Navy seamen, 1,177 from the USS Arizona alone, 109 Marines, 218 Army personnel, Japanese pilots and submariners damaged 19 American ships, and damaged or destroyed more than 300 aircraft. However, As devastating as the attack first appeared, only 3 ships, the USS Arizona, the Oklahoma, and the Utah, were complete losses. And this is the memorial. And you may remember early in this Boles.tv live stream, I shared this wonderful, touching poem with you, written by friend and mentor Marshall Jameson. Wrote it in 97, but he wrote it about Pearl Harbor. And I'll just share this with you, because it's one of my favorite poems, and it's brief, and it hits you in the face like a load of bricks. He held her again, as he had when she first told him. Then she told him again, and then he promised to marry her as soon as he was 18, and he did. At 22, after 2 more babies, and before they could conceive again, he volunteered for the Navy, took basic training in California, was assigned to Pacific duty, finally to Hawaii, and the battleship USS Arizona forever. So in 9 lines from Marshall Jameson, you get a most magnificent, devastating poem. And when I would teach, I would use this poem to teach students of literature, dramatic tension, English composition, how you tell history, how you weave history, how you tell a story in an effective term. And we would go line by line and dissect it. And these were young kids, 20 years ago. And they didn't know a lot. He held her again, as he had when she first told him. What does that mean? Then she told him again, and then he promised. So it's a couple. She's pregnant. She's telling him, and he is embracing her. And then he promised to marry her as soon as he was 18, and he did. So all of that is going on. So in that short life between those 2 people, we learn that they care for each other, that she gets unexpectedly pregnant. He makes a promise kept, to marry her when he turned 18. And he did. Then we go from 18 to 22. So in this little span of empty space, 4 years happens. And we accept it. At 22, after 2 more babies, and before they could conceive again, he volunteered for the Navy. And that's what a lot of men that age during World War II did. They didn't wait to get drafted. They stepped forward for their country. And they volunteered to serve. They were not forced into service. He volunteered for the Navy. He took basic training in California, was assigned to Pacific duty. Now right there, you get a clue and your stomach turns just a little bit. Volunteered for the Navy. You know that means World War II, because you volunteer to go in. You don't volunteer to go into the Navy today. You go and you sign up. You register. You don't volunteer. He was assigned to Pacific duty. Pacific. Finally to Hawaii. Very interesting use of the word finally. Pacific duty, finally to Hawaii. Which, at that point in the poem, you think, okay, that's his destination, finally arrived. Well, finally also means finished. And we get that punch in the face with the last line of the poem. And the battleship, USS Arizona forever. Now, I love that Marshall included the word battleship, because USS Arizona forever is cleaner, just to say it that way, and the USS Arizona forever. But the battleship makes it very clear about the how and the why of Pacific duty and volunteering. Now, 99% of my students have no idea what the USS Arizona is. They don't get it. We read this whole poem, we dissect this poem, we discuss what happened, the history. They don't get it. And that's your job as a teacher, is to help them understand, to help them to get it if they want to get it. And it goes right into the history lesson. What is the USS Arizona? And it's a wonderful opportunity, and kids are interested. This popped up in my newsfeed today from the National Archives. Fascinating. After being sunk in the Pearl Harbor attack, the battleship USS Oklahoma was salvaged in 1942-43. The mud and oil-soaked bones of almost 400 crew members were recovered and buried in graves marked unknown. Now, the USS Arizona forever is this memorial. And you can see right in the middle, USS Arizona is still on the bottom, still leaking oil. And people go out to this memorial. It's very beautiful. And they remember what happened. And this is what the memorial looks like. It's very beautiful. USS Arizona, that's where it is. That's directly over where the battleship was sunk. And it's nice that there's a place that people can go and remember. Visiting the memorial. And there's the real shot. Can you see? That's the ship under the water. So people on this day, December 7, FDR called a day that will live in for infamy. Live in infamy forever. This is where we are. This is how we choose to remember where we come from and where we're going. So we thank those who served, and we honor those who remember the sacrifice that was made. The USS Battleship Arizona forever. And now, a brief break. See you soon. We are back from our break. Thank you for being here. I'm David Boles, Boles.tv. We're live. It's wonderful to have you with us. I see Dora said R.I.P. Well, I was away on break, and that is absolutely right. Rest in peace, USS Arizona. And I remember a while back there's some people who were saying, hey, you know, we have technology now. We can raise the USS Arizona, bring it back. We can recover all the bodies and do like we did for the Oklahoma. And I believe they then asked the surviving family members of those from the USS Arizona who perished, what do you think of that idea? And I think, if I remember right, all the families said, no. Leave them there. Leave them buried where they fell. They're together. They died together. Let them live together under the water. And I believe that's what they did. They left it alone. And when I think about, students and people who don't know and haven't heard of the USS Arizona, and then you tell them, and then there's some interest, it always is interesting as a teacher or a person in the world dealing with the human condition. How you handle people not knowing things. And generally the idea is you can never be angry with someone or get aggressive with someone or be cruel to someone for not knowing something. It's not their fault that they don't know. And there are a lot of people who, oh, you're so stupid, you should know this, it's common knowledge. Well, some people don't know. And if they don't know and you know, well, there is a little bit of a responsibility for you to try to perhaps help them know, help them learn. And some people are open to that experience and other people are not interested. But that's okay. You make the effort and they turn you down, and okay, we move on. But the problem comes when people who know better, who have been educated, and who cynically then go against the best interests of some people. That's where things start to get a little messy, a little shady. Because then there's something else going on. There's not just not knowing going on, there is an intention behind the not knowing. And that's a dangerous thing. And we're specifically talking about, right now, COVID and coronavirus, and people who know the benefits of the vaccine and who yet tell other people who don't know lies just to get them to follow them or to be on their side. And speaking of lies, we're going to finish today with a very fantastical story from the Flatwater Free Press in Nebraska. With this wild story about Burger King, where all the workers at Burger King in Lincoln, Nebraska quit. And this is how we learned about it. In mid-July, a television station in India recounted the day the air conditioner died at a fast food restaurant 8,000 miles away. The temperature had soared to 32 degrees Celsius, that's 90 degrees Fahrenheit, inside a Burger King in Lincoln, Nebraska. Its manager had ended up dehydrated and in the hospital. The Indian News reported a top boss had called manager Rachel Flores a baby when she'd missed a meeting the day before because hospital staff had hooked her up to an IV. A baby. Her employees thought she was a hero, not a baby. And when it fed up, Flores put in her 2 weeks' notice. The entire morning crew, including her roommate, lined up to do the same. Now, Burger King is a troubled franchise. McDonald's is number one. They're a corporation. They run corporate. Burger King has been kicked around by investment companies for at least 10 years. It's bought and sold and ripped apart and resold and reconstituted. It really has no core. It has no intentional purpose. It has lost its moral way. And yet people still love Burger King. They like the food. Then the crew at the Havelock Burger King, which is a neighborhood in Lincoln, Nebraska, broadcasts its departure on the fast food restaurant's marquee to their bosses, their customers, and eventually the world. We all quit Burger King. Sorry for the inconvenience. Now, some people think this was a sign of the times, a message at the outset of what would become known as the Great Resignation. It was absolutely insane. We weren't prepared for it to blow up, for how far across the world it went. The public exodus at the home of the Whopper, in the middle of the country, Nebraska, in the middle of a pandemic, caught fire after Flores posted a photo of the sign on Facebook. So now what do? You have Burger King, where everyone who's working at Burger King in Lincoln, Nebraska is quitting. As Johnny Paycheck said so many years ago, take this job and shove it. Oh, this is the new pandemic. This is the new coronavirus. People are quitting because they don't want to work. They want to be on unemployment. Well, maybe people are quitting because they aren't being treated right. Because they're being called a baby for working in a 90-degree Burger King without any air conditioning. Workers are finally standing up and saying, we're not going to tolerate these conditions anymore. And they have leverage. There were 10.4 million open jobs nationally in September and only 6.5 million hires. And that's interesting. You find people in buildings who need maintenance crew, they need porters, and they can't find them. They call the temp agencies and say, hey, send me over somebody to work here. And the temp agencies laugh at them. Where's my laugh? Now that's not, I don't call that a laugh. Let's see, I have a better laugh somewhere. Ha ha, moo-ha-ha laugh. Hey, temp agencies, send me over a worker so they can help me stack boxes that were delivered. Yeah. And these companies, management companies, say, what do you mean? What do you mean? Why are you laughing at me? What I... And these temp agencies say, well, the workers have power now. If you want people to work and move a box for you, you got to pay them more than $16 an hour. You got to pay them $25 an hour, and then maybe they'll take the job. $25 an hour? This is a $16 an hour job. Okay, well, then you can have someone working for $16 an hour, and there's nobody there. So are these businesses going to change and shape up and pay people more to get the work they want? Or are they just going to wait it out, short-staffed? Well, it looks like so far a lot of companies are just going to wait it out short-staffed. Burger King's going to remain empty. And what's interesting, in Lincoln, Nebraska, which is a very conservative state, it wasn't when I was growing up. There were pockets of very strong liberalism. Now the whole thing is just covered in red. Red like blood. All of the Burger King employees who left their jobs with a bang in July have opened new doors. A few followed Johnson to Ruby Tuesday, another restaurant, where she kept her part-time job as a server and bartender after the day shift at Burger King last Friday. Almost everyone that I know that has left has found better jobs, making at least the same or more money, which was just what I told you about the temp agencies. She got a tattoo. We all quit to memorialize that infamy. They wouldn't fix the air conditioner properly, Johnson said, leaving fry cooks and servers sweltering dangerously for several weeks. They wouldn't or couldn't remain at adequate staffing levels, leaving the staff constantly hurried and harried. And where for a few weeks in the summer, in her internet-inspired moment of pandemic history, 2 or 3 diners each night looked at her from their menus, studied her face, and said, "Hey, weren't you that chick from Burger King?" And you read stories here on the East Coast about people quitting Chipotle for the same reasons, that they're running programs where staff can't keep up. There's not enough staff. And management doesn't care. Do it anyway. We don't have enough people. Find a way to do it. And some of these Chipotles are closing. We all quit. You management people come in and serve people their dollar burritos. As the pandemic recedes, millions of workers are saying, "I quit." They've had enough. They think they can do better. They can find a better job. And a lot of people aren't just quitting. There's this new thing called rage quitting. And this is very scary stuff. Walking out of a job in anger can seem extreme, but there are often powerful motivations for doing it. What is rage quitting? I'll give you an example of what rage quitting is. There's a guy I know who worked maintenance in a building, and he had felt tortured by management for a long time. And they were opening a new building, and he wanted to go be the super in the new building. And he had worked as assistant super in his current building for 4 years. So he thought he was owed the new building. And I sort of agree with him. He was very talented. Everyone loved him. And management, for whatever reason, said no. Well, the person they ended up hiring for the new building was less sophisticated, didn't have as much talent as the guy who wanted the job. "Oh yeah, Doris says separately, I want to retire. Why do I feel guilty?" Well, that's an easy one, Dora. You feel guilty because you're a responsible, wonderful person, and you don't want to leave people in a bind. And you know what's going to happen when you leave, and it's not going to be a good thing, because the companies always say everyone is replaceable, which is true, but sometimes people are not equally replaceable. You can always put a warm body in somebody's position, but that doesn't mean it's going to get done in the same way. And some workers tend to overestimate their value. "Oh, this company can't survive without me. I'm the heart and soul of this department." And while that is true, or maybe true, in the end it doesn't matter, because everyone is replaceable. That's why you always have to live your own life and do whatever you think is best, because nobody else cares. So this friend was denied his super job, very upset, spoke to management about it multiple times. They didn't care. So he quit on a Friday, and management said, "Okay, fine. On Monday, come in, turn in all your keys, and we'll give you your final paycheck." And he said, "Okay." And then he went home over the weekend and obviously thought about what he did and what they had said. I think he thought they were going to say, "Oh no, don't go, stay. Here's more money. We're opening up a third building and we'll make you super there." That didn't happen. They said, "Great. Give us your keys. We'll give you your check. A check for keys on Monday." So he had the whole weekend to obviously ruminate about this. Came in on Monday, turned in his keys to management, got his final paycheck, went into the lobby of the building, got over the intercom system that goes to every apartment in the building, used only for emergency communication in the event of a fire or a police event. So if you hear the speaker go off in your apartment, you know, uh-oh, there's trouble. And he made a vile and vulgar announcement against management. And it was about a 60-second screaming match. Those who heard it couldn't understand what was being said. And then he left, never came back. And some people in the building, I understand, were cheering, oh my gosh, wasn't that great? While others who heard about it, overheard what happened, and I am one of them, were just very disappointed because that person was very special and very interesting. And to rage quit like that, to make a big spectacle out of nothing, hey, if they don't want you to be the super, say thank you so much. I believe I would have been the best super, and I'm going to go prove it to myself by getting a different job in a different building. And just go. You don't have to put on a big show. You don't have to rage quit. You don't have to ruin your reputation. You don't have to make a scene. But that's the new thing of the day. Rage quitting. It's just a very bizarre thing. Though rage quitting can look and feel impulsive, dissatisfaction with a job tends to build up over time until an incident triggers the actual resignation. And having a safe space to land, such as an abundance of job options, another source of income like unemployment insurance, or an upcoming opportunity like graduate school, can make it easier to pull the trigger. So, this whole rage quitting thing is like a thing. It's a new thing that people are doing. And this reporting is from the BBC, so it's not just happening in America, it's happening all over the world, I guess. If an employee does rage quit, that should be a wake-up call to the employer. 6 months after Alexander left the overheated club clutching his DJ equipment, he reconciled with the owner and went back. But the next year he walked out again, following more broken promises and unsafe working conditions. That was the last time I DJ'd outside of my own house. Just was fed up with the whole thing. So there you go. Rage quitting. I don't understand it. I don't think it's necessary. I guess if you want to burn every bridge you have, go ahead and rage quit if it makes you feel better. But in the end, I think it's only going to damage you and damage your prospects and your future delight. And it's unfortunate. Well, we've had a wild show. Oh my goodness. Thank you for the watch, for the follow. Druglau. Very happy to know you and to have you here. And maybe one day you'll join us here and chat. We went off on a shingles rant, which I'm very happy to do every day because I believe in vaccines and I believe in not having pain on every part of your face. We had a nice conversation about the USS Arizona and remembering and how a poem can reach back in time and pull us into a new reality that we may not understand and that we may have missed. We talked about Burger King. We talked about Janna's new show coming up Saturday, Sunday, we're hoping, 11 a.m., if she can be convinced that she's just as wonderful as everyone around her believes she is. But I understand the reticence, and we're all here to help. We're all here to be supportive. And the Washington Post wished us a happy birthday a month and a half early. We don't know why, but we're appreciative of the thought. If you have a question, you can now email me at david@boles.tv. You can also find me online on Twitter at David Boles, Facebook, username Boles, And on Instagram, we are Boles Books. You can join us every weekday here at 9 a.m. for this live stream. And the live stream is always free. You'll get some ads. If you don't want ads, if you also want the ability to watch our video on demand anytime you wish, you can subscribe to the stream. If you have Amazon Prime, it's free every month. Or you can just pay a little money and support this stream and keep it going. Until tomorrow, I'm David Boles. This is Boles.tv, and I thank you for watching and being with me. Take care.